Hello guys, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. Alright guys, so we have an article here coming from Cord Cutters News. You can find the link for the article down below in the description. So what we're talking about is we have an update regarding T-Mobile. We know that T-Mobile purchased a large sum of spectrum. It's the 2.5 gigahertz spectrum, which T-Mobile was hoping to use to continue building out their ultra capacity network. So they're desperately waiting for this to be released so they can use it. However, around the time that they purchased the spectrum, the FCC licensing has expired. So therefore, they're saying that they are not able to release the spectrum over to T-Mobile. So there's been a number of reports going on with this. There's been a bunch of people getting involved, trying to push the envelope here and trying to get T-Mobile back that spectrum that they paid for. So we have an update here now because this is a large sum of money. This is $304 million worth of spectrum licenses. All right, they purchased it last year. We know that they purchased it at the Federal Commission's commission auction. All right, and T-Mobile's been left in the dark here. So due to this, there's been a political and technical battle raging in Washington, D.C. So they're saying that there was a new proposed Senate bill which may help T-Mobile get around the regulatory red tape, they're saying. So Senator John Kennedy, who is a Republican from Louisiana, on Thursday apparently introduced the 5G Spectrum Authority Licensing Enforcement Act that is supposed to basically give the FCC temporary access or authority to dole out these licenses that were purchased in previous auctions. So Kennedy's legislation would grant the agency one-time authority to dole out licenses purchased in auctions that were held before March 9th. So the bill would get around a messy situation in Congress and with the Defense Department and National Telecommunications and Information Administration, which needed more time to conduct a test of potential interference. So they're saying that the delay and the Senate's failure to approve an extension to the FCC's authority over spectrum auctions meant the agency lost its authority to grant licenses for the first time in 30 years, guys. So those licenses are the key for carriers like T-Mobile, obviously, to further build out its network, particularly in rural communities. That's why Kennedy is taking up this issue. So if this is true, T-Mobile gets its hands on the 2.5 megahertz of spectrum here, and gigahertz, sorry. And then, we might be looking at some much better rural service for many customers that are in desperate need of getting access there. So T-Mobile's kind of pointing the finger and saying, this is why we're not getting, deployments to these areas, so pretty much they can technically say, well, when we break it down and, people complain about, T-Mobile's rural access not being where it's supposed to be, they can technically blame it on this situation right now. They could say that once we get access to that spectrum, we can do a lot better with it. We can deploy a lot more and, make the situation better for rural communities. So if that's the case, then that's the case, right? So I guess we'll see, right? But going forward, they're saying that Louisiana, so there was a statement here, I guess, made by Kennedy. It looks like he says Louisiana's economy relies on small business and small business rely on broadband. So he also goes on to say currently bureaucratic red tape is standing in the way of Louisianians' wireless communications. So he says his 5G Sale Act offers a simple solution for providing rural Americans with access to broadband by giving the FCC the authority to finish transferring already auctioned spectrum to companies who offer 5G coverage. So the radio airwaves purchased from the FCC's auction 108 run in the 2.5 gigahertz frequency, which offer a sweet compromise in both range and speed, and would be key to expanding cover of T-Mobile's 5G network. So the bipartisan support to give the FCC back its authority, but the extension lapsed. So Congress will have to pass the new bill. There's already one proposed in the House, but it will still take a while before it can pass. So we know about this situation here, right? So they're saying, though, it is unclear if Kennedy's bill would move any quicker through the Senate, but they're happy that at least lawmakers are making moves to free up the spectrum. So I think it's a good idea. I think at this point, you got to do something. Everything else, there's been a number of letters. As the article has mentioned, there's been a raging war. We've had so many people, Senator Ted Cruz, and just on, like so many people are just trying to move this along. They've pleaded with the FCC, in-house. They've done everything. And T-Mobile has basically been asking for like a temporary grant just to kind of like get the ball rolling, because there's a lot of complaints about T-Mobile's network in rural communities. We know this. It's gotten a little better, but there's still a lot of small communities that are not able to get access to T-Mobile's network. So this might help. It will definitely help. Whether or not it will fix all the gaps in the network there in these smaller communities, I don't know, but it should definitely help. And T-Mobile has paid for this. $304 million is not, it's not chump change. So T-Mobile has every right to be upset. And I think you can't just sit here and say, well, we got to wait for our license to be renewed. They should be able to do something, and I've said this before, you should be able to do something to accommodate T-Mobile. It's only fair. If you're going to auction off spectrum like this, you need to be able to cover yourself. You have to have some kind of contingency and plan in place, so that, wireless carriers that purchase these deals aren't left in the dark after they sign over a large amount of money to you. So I'm with T-Mobile on this. I've said that before. I think they have every right to be upset, and I don't think the FCC has enough. It's not enough for them to just say, well, we have to wait to get back our authority. So we'll see if this little rule here or new suggestion helps. Hopefully they can move this bill along, and T-Mobile will be on its way with the spectrum that it paid for. I don't know. It's a tough situation. No, not really any other way to describe it other than a tough situation. And I guess we'll see where this goes. So consider it a developing story as always. This situation is just continuing to develop. We'll be sure to cover it here for you guys once we get more updates. As always, thanks for stopping by and watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.